Thank you. I love the design festival and I'm so excited to be here today. Okay, so we started out with asking high school students in Washington who are the people in STEM that truly inspire you. And we had a bunch of sticky notes that we were ready to write down answers that we already expected. Charles Darwin, Marie Curie, Albert Einstein, and George Washington Carver. However, we realized that there's a second row of sticky notes, which gave us a completely different picture. They said, my teacher, my mom, and my brother. That row of sticky notes is something that completely changed the product direction, and it is the reason that this talk exists. By the end of the next 15 minutes, you will know how to design research that will break your product and use design to rebuild the entire plan. I am Kritika Sony. I was a researcher and a designer on this project, and I worked in a team of three in collaboration with a company called Revere XR, which builds innovative solutions in AR, VR, and XR. And this project is called Echoes, the heroes around you. So here's where it all started. Revere XR wanted to enter the educational sector, specifically high school students in Washington. And they saw a real gap that the STEM education rarely highlights the rich legacy of BIPOC innovators. Their innovations, though profound, are often too overlooked in the mainstream curriculum. Oh, I'm sorry. And Revere XR wanted to change that. So the question that we started with was, how do we highlight the stories of people in STEM and how do we make those stories genuinely interesting? So I'm going to talk about two parts of the project. One was the UX research and design, the co-design session, and the second one was building out a 3D world in Spline. And so here's how we started with it. We interviewed with 7 high school students, 2 high school teachers, and 1 subject matter expert. And we decided that we did not really want to stop at traditional interviews. We wanted to go one step beyond and dig deeper and understand what is it that is genuinely interesting to teenagers. What is it that really moves them? Which brings us back to our sticky notes. The most impactful, notable people for the students are the ones that they share a personal connection with. It wasn't the famous people, it wasn't someone in their textbooks. It was their teacher, mom, and brother. And that was a fork in the road because our entire product roadmap was mapped around the fact that we're going to build a historical narrative about the famous people. And this data point completely changed that direction. The data was telling us that the emotional engine of inspiration is proximity. It was people that you can actually reach out to. So instead of ignoring that data, we changed the goal entirely. The new goal wasn't just historical narratives, it was the stories of people around them. We decided to build a historical narrative of a living archive of stories which was built with students by the students. And here's how we did it. We did not want to design it for them, but we wanted to make sure that we're designing it with them. So this led to a 3-hour in-person workshop with 3 high school students, and this happened in 2 phases. In the first one, we let them play freely, discuss ideas, come up with their own plans. And in the second phase, we gave them VR headsets to play with. And only after that, they were allowed to come up with more ideas. And that way, it led to 40 plus ideas in a single afternoon. But the ideas that the students came up with wasn't itself the gold. The gold was really in asking why were these ideas interesting to them. And the first and the most important reason was that this creates an authentic portrayal of the notable people. It wasn't caricatures, it wasn't any flattening, it was the true portrayal of these people. The second one was the active involvement. So no passive watching, but actually being really involved in the story. And the third one was stepping into your hero's shoes and seeing the world from their perspective. So it started out with a storyboard. uh, as you can see, we started out with like very basic sketching, and the first sketch was basically, this is a part of 14 frames, and I have compiled it into the three main ones so you can follow the story along. The first one is where you can record a conversation on an iPad, and you can create memory balls that will tell you about each incident in a person's life. This could be a historical figure, it could be a personal figure. And the third one is, what would you do if you were in their shoes? And this is what it looks like in the real world. You can sit down with your dad, with an aunt, with your mom, with a teacher that you admire, look at the photos and upload them to an iPad. Quick honesty check, this is speculative design, so the technology for this may not exist yet today. But given the rate that AI is working, we never know. So this is how it works. The platform, you can record an audio interview, you can upload the images and videos in an iPad, and Echo's AI creates an immersive story out of it that you can enter, play with, and experience the life of another person. So rather than tell you what it feels like, I'm going to show you the film.
At Loyola High School, the 10th grade history class is learning about immersive technology. The teacher assigns the students to interview someone they find inspiring and capture their story in the Echo's VR app. Amira thinks of her father, a robotics engineer, and decides to interview him. Later that evening, Amira sits down with her father, Jeremiah. Jeremiah tells her about his long, winding career journey, while Amira records the conversation on her iPad. Next day in school, Amira uploads the recording and includes old photos of her father. The AI dissects the transcript and images and creates a vivid avatar of Jeremiah. Her friend Ronnie is considering an engineering career. He decides to learn about Amira's dad, Jeremiah. He opens the Echoes app and enters a living archive filled with avatars representing renowned people like Katherine Johnson and inspiring personal connections like Amira's dad, Jeremiah. There are people here from across time and cultures, emphasizing that every story and contribution matters. Ronnie finds Jeremiah and enters his memory world, where he is presented with a walk down Jeremiah's memory lane. Ronnie can select the memories of Jeremiah's career that he finds interesting and experience them firsthand. The first memory is from 1991, when Jeremiah was living in Ethiopia. Ronnie interacts with the memory and is transported into the memory.
I received a scholarship at UC Davis to study mechanical engineering. Opportunities like this did not exist back home in Ethiopia.
Ronnie moves on to the next memory, continuing the story.
I struggled with English a lot. My classmates could not understand me many times. One time, I overheard my classmate.
It's so hard to understand Jeremiah. He's slowing us down.
At this point, Ronnie is presented with an interaction point to further empathize with Jeremiah. Ronnie relates to the challenge Jeremiah faced and considers what he would do in that situation. Ronnie chooses option 1.
Great choice, but this is how I actually responded to my classmate. You know, my accent isn't perfect, but math is universal.
Ronnie is inspired by Jeremiah and thinks to himself, maybe I can do it too.
Every design decision in what you just watched traces back to a sticky note. The students asked for an authentic portrayal and an active involvement in the story. And every part of this film makes sure that it touches that. Then we put this in front of students for usability testing. And we showed them stories of both personal figures and historical figures. And here's what they had to say. The first student said, I don't think you made a good choice to drop out of school and get married. That they were morally wrestling with a real person's decisions. It wasn't a fact that they read in a textbook and they were reciting it. So that is engagement that no textbook can get. The second student said, I want to learn more about what happened after he got married. And that is curiosity that lived beyond that session. And another student said that the world and the time is so different from the way that we live now. Historical empathy, perspective taking, exactly what we had designed for. We presented this to Revere XR's leadership and R&D teams. That's my two teammates with me and the director of and the creative art director of Revere XR, Mike Hines. And here's the outcome. The project and its testimonials genuinely informed the company's vision and entry into the education sector. It was a totally speculative concept based on a technology that did not exist today, and it was able to reshape a company's entire strategy. And all of this was because research was allowed to break the plan and because design had the capability to rebuild it. So let me leave you with this one sentence that combines the whole project here today. It is that when you ask students who inspires you the most, it is not the most famous people, it is not textbook figures, but it is their mom, their brother, their teacher, the heroes around them. And here's one part that I hope you take back when you go to work on Monday. Each one of us has a roadmap, has a project on that roadmap in which research is not allowed to touch the plan. But I urge you to let research take it, allow research to break that plan, and then give design the trust to rebuild that entire plan. Because everything good that has come out of this project has been because of that second row of sticky notes, which said that the students are most inspired by their personal connections and not just historical figures. So run the research that will break your plan, because somewhere in your users' answers, there's the right answer waiting for you. For those students, it was never about Einstein. It was their teacher, it was their parent, it was their friend. It was in the playgrounds, in the classrooms, and their home. It was the heroes around them. Thank you.